are calling for the removal of this Confederate statue that sits outside the Lowndes County Courthouse. However, some supervisors think the statue should stay exactly where it's at. I'm Quentin Smith, and we'll have this story coming up on WCBI News.
WCBI News at 6 starts now.
That's our top story here at 6. Thank you so much for joining us. Emotions were running high during today's Lowndes County Board of Supervisors meeting. The topic, the Confederate Monument outside the courthouse. District 5 Supervisor Leroy Brooks made a motion to have the monument removed within 90 days. The motion failed in a 3-2 vote. Our Quentin Smith, he was at today's meeting. Quentin, why did some supervisors vote against the motion?
Well, Scott, Board President Harry Sanders says the monument does not need to be moved because of the history it represents. However, some in attendance, including the Lowndes County chapter of the NAACP, say that history is marked with dark and painfulness. Now they're calling for it to be moved to another location.
We don't like what it stands for and what it reflects for.
District 5 Supervisor Leroy Brooks made this passionate and emotional plea, calling for the Confederate monument that sits outside the courthouse to be moved. That motion failed, and while he's disappointed, Brooks says he's not surprised by the board's decision.
To me, that monument serves no intrinsic value, and all we were saying is move it to Friendship Cemetery. We're not talking about tearing it down. It's a more appropriate place for it to be. So here we are delaying the inevitable.
First off, I don't think the statue needs to be removed.
Board President Harry Sanders was one of the 3 supervisors that voted against the motion. Sanders says the Confederate monument should stay because of its historic value.
I don't think that anything needs to be forgotten about how slavery was not right, and you know, I'm not saying that this honors the South or anything. It honors the people who died during the war between the states, and I don't think there's something that just needs to be forgotten.
I'm pained by the reality that it reflects a part of the history of this state that many of us are not proud of.
After the board's decision, the Lowndes County chapter of the NAACP and other community leaders who were in favor of the removal held a press conference voicing their frustrations. They believe moving the monument to Friendship Cemetery is ideal because it still gives people a place for public viewing. Along with the removal, they're also asking that a new monument, one that unifies the state as a whole, replace the current one outside the courthouse.
There comes a time when an appeal for decency and respect to all people is necessary, even when it's not necessarily a popular opinion amongst a certain group.
To be given a 90-day window for removal, and when it was time to vote on that motion, it was an immediate dismissal of it without true concern, true hearing, true consideration. That is unacceptable. And we as a community, as voters, have voices, and we have to use them.
Now, those who are calling for the removal of the statue also say they want to see the state adopt a new flag. The board is set to meet again on June 30th, and at this time, there's no word on whether the issue will be addressed again during that meeting. And also today, a Columbus native held a peaceful protest by himself advocating the monument to be removed. John Lewis, who you see here, drove from Austin, Texas back to the friendly city in hopes of bringing about change. Lewis held different signs while walking around the statue, shedding light on why he thinks the Confederate monument needs to come down. He says the statue points to a dark and hurtful past for many people, and it is not reflective of where the state currently stands.
And after a while, all eyes on this nation are going to be on the state of Mississippi. And they need to be in small towns like this that don't have a voice. Because all other states and countries are taking down their monuments, and that bubble is going to get smaller here in Mississippi. So we better take action now, quit dragging our feet about it, because it needs to be done.
Point out the monument has stood outside the courthouse since 1912. Lewis says he's going to protest every day until the statue is removed. Scott?
All right, Quentin, thanks so much. Now, it all comes down to the IHL, the Institute of Higher Learning. 6 months ago, the 12-person board halted the move of the Confederate statue in the middle of the University of Mississippi campus. Today, they may have changed their minds. Mississippi Today reports that trustees are expected to approve a plan to move the monument. That decision could happen as early as Thursday. Students and faculty have been waiting for IHL approval since last year. In 2019, a vote by the University of Mississippi elected student governing bodies and the faculty senate approved moving the monument to an on-campus cemetery. At least one IHL trustee asked for more information from the university, effectively stopping the removal of the statue. The statue was placed at the entrance to campus in the early 1900s by the Daughters of the Confederacy. It has been an ongoing source of controversy between students who say the statue did not represent their values and more conservative alumni. Well, Starkville aldermen will tackle several issues, including dining and protesting options. There are 3 specific items on tomorrow night's agenda. First, city leaders will consider the first public hearing for a temporary leisure and entertainment district. The second item would expand restaurant seating area and designated parking spaces along Main Street in what is known as streetery. This would basically allow restaurants to put tables outside of their regular dining areas. Aldermen could also vote on a First Amendment permit process to allow marches and protests. This would change how people would sign up to host one of those events. A bill that would increase teacher pay for public school teachers has died. Senate Bill 2001 would give a raise of more than $1,000 over the next 3 years for starting salaries, and $1,000 would be given to teachers thereafter. Our Stephanie Poole joins us live in the studio with more. Hey, Steph.
That's right, Scott. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, lawmakers are concerned about the state's budget. I spoke with a few educators who tell me they're not too happy.
As a school teacher, I've been in education for 26 years, and it still amazes me how our legislators don't feel like we're worthy, but it seems as though we have been here time and time again, and the results continue to stay the same.
Amory Middle School teacher Julia Foster is saddened after learning she won't be getting a pay increase this year. After months of waiting, Foster and other educators are now in a place of uncertainty.
Summertime is usually a time for us to reevaluate, rejuvenate, and reset, trying to get ready for the upcoming school year. But with the way things ended, so many things are up in the air.
Lowndes County School District Superintendent Sam Allison says this decision could affect school budgets too.
You know, we're looking at 10% budget cuts. We're hoping that's not the case, but that's kind of what we've been told that we could possibly expect. So, you know, and I know right now they're working on that budget process to give us those numbers.
Allison and Foster are concerned if the average salary for Mississippi teachers will be enough to keep them here.
We're just not a 7 to 3 job. We take papers home, we bring students home. We already know that we're facing a teacher shortage, and it's because they can go across state lines, whether it's to Alabama, to Georgia, to Tennessee, and get more pay. As
the economy continues to grow, you know, I don't know if that'll be next year or the next. I feel like their focus, when they're able to, their focus will come back to that.
And with recent changes, Allison hopes his team knows how appreciated they are.
I think with teachers, they're a special group, and sure, they would have loved the increase, but many of them are so dedicated. I think they're understanding, and they're going to do such a great job either way.
Allison says his administration will continue to follow teacher pay developments at the state capitol.
Last week, Mississippi community colleges ended several weeks of speculation announcing classes would resume on campus and in person this fall. Now we're beginning to see what that will look like for community colleges serving our area. EMCC President Dr. Scott Alsobrooks says a lot of planning has gone into the process of reopening the school.
It's been an extensive process, and we've listened to Dr. Dobbs with the Mississippi Department of Health, and we've heeded the governor's recommendations, and we've used all that information and data that we've been able to get to make decisions to try to have school as safely as possible.
The schools will be posting their reopening plans and latest information on their websites.
Looking south from downtown Columbus, we see the remnants of what was a little bit of a downpour in Lowndes County over the last 30 minutes. This thing really falling apart, marching right along Highway 45, but that won't be with us too much longer. Most of the rain is out of here aside from that, and another little blip northeast of Starkville. Easy for me to say tonight, but things are on the way out. Let's just say that we'll have a nice clearing trend this evening. Currently mid to low 80s. and temperatures will be cooling down into the 70s and then some 60s and then maybe some 50s later on tonight. So by 9:71, 11:67, we start out with a lot of sunshine and mainly in the 60s at 7 o'clock in the morning, but tonight mainly clear. The wind will become light, upper 50s in some spots around here, so not too bad. We will warm up by the end of this work week. We'll show you that in the 7-day coming up.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. Donations of food and personal hygiene items are needed to help parents whose babies are in the neonatal intensive care unit at NMMC. Now, the We Care room at NMMC's NICU is stocked with non-perishable food items like snack cakes, raisins, breakfast bars, even lunch items. Those items are available for parents whose newborns are in the NICU, but supplies have been running low and there was a higher than average number of NICU patients. People can bring donations of food and personal hygiene items to NMMC's Women's Center. Toothbrushes are not needed, they say, but other items such as men's deodorant, fingernail clippers, hairbrushes, and combs are in short supply as well. Items can be dropped off at the front desk at the Women's Center. For more information, you can call this number, 662-377-4924. Two Lowndes County organizations are providing meals to the community. Love Live Christ and Turtle Undisputed Shells are teaming up with the Mississippi Food Network and the YMCA to distribute emergency food packages to families in need. Volunteers say that they are constantly working to get food to those in the community who need it.
Our goal is to make sure that those who need it have access to it. So we want to make sure that we're dispersing it evenly around the community. We've done this in the north side and the south side. We have a distribution list for people who have food shortages, so we've delivered it personally to them. And now we just want to make sure that other individuals in this community have access to it.
Over 100 bags were given out today.
A local sheriff shares his fondness for a larger-than-life hero who is known for playing the good guy on the big screen. We'll have that story coming up on WCBI News.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. A North Mississippi sheriff had a lot of positive influences growing up, but one of his biggest was a larger-than-life movie star. Allie Martin shows us how this top law officer honors his longtime hero.
Calhoun County Sheriff Greg Paulin helps keep everyone safe and uphold law and order, just like his hero did for many years on the big screen. The sign above Sheriff Paulin's door says Duke Drive. Inside his office, a collection of various items honoring the sheriff's favorite movie star who was a hero to millions.
I'm a John Wayne fan, a fanatic actually.
Sheriff Paulin's mother and both grandfathers were huge John Wayne fans and watched the actor's movies whenever they were on TV.
There was always a John Wayne movie on every day or every weekend, so it was always on at my house as a kid. And so it started there, and it's just, I've carried it through life.
That piece of cloth in there is an actual piece of John Wayne shirt.
The sheriff collects John Wayne memorabilia, posting some of his finds on social media. He has even visited the John Wayne Museum in the actor's hometown of Winterset, Iowa. Paulin says John Wayne's movies are classic and timeless.
He wanted to make movies that the whole family could go and see, and as far as I know, through what I've read, he never made an R-rated movie.
John Wayne made more than 140 movies during his legendary career, and Sheriff Paulin has seen most of them, but when asked to pick a favorite, he didn't hesitate.
By far, Rio Bravo. I don't even have to think about that. I get asked that quite often. I've seen that movie since I was 5 or 6 years old. I've probably seen it a couple hundred times.
Get ready. Let it go.
Sheriff Paulin isn't ready to retire anytime soon, but when that day comes, he'll have even more time to collect John Wayne memorabilia and souvenirs and watch those classic movies. In Calhoun County, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Sheriff Paulin says he often gets tips on hard-to-find John Wayne merchandise from Twitter and Facebook. All right, we're going to send things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. And Keith, real quick, I got to say, now after meeting Sheriff Pollen and seeing that story, it makes total sense.
Now you know. Now you know.
Hey, the weather out there tonight, or today, perfect.
Yeah, today pretty good. We had a few isolated showers. Tomorrow in Fulton, not too bad at all. We start out on a comfortable note, back to the mid-80s for the rest of Itawamba County. Also, Itawamba County, 84 degrees, a pretty popular number. All right, your full forecast is next. Stay tuned.
Weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Some slightly cooler temperatures for the next 3 days as we get into your Tuesday, 85 degrees, 86 Wednesday, and then 90 on Thursday. Humidity is still in check. That will gradually be going on up later this week. Our time lapse from downtown Tupelo today. Some of these clouds this afternoon going from north to south and then clearing out late this afternoon. It will be a great evening for you in Vernon at Durham's Pharmacy. Also some of these puffy cumulus clouds. We missed those spotty showers and thunder showers in Vernon today, but we still have a few blips on radar. Let's zoom on in. Southern Lowndes County, the remnants of that shower just east of Crawford. But we have another rogue shower just east of MSU in eastern Oktibbeha County. Now, this is not going to last too long, but right there along 82 and 182, just east of the campus, a little bit of a shower. That's it. And once we get rid of those, I think we're good for the rest of this evening and tonight. Just a little bit of moisture and a couple of stripes across our region. A brief downpour. Some of you got in on that. Most spots did not. Now we have an area of low pressure over here in the Carolinas. The orange is dry air, and notice how we will be in this drier zone, it looks like, for the next couple of days. And that means rain chances will be suppressed. So we can't rule out a stray shower or so, but most of the moisture, if not all of it, will be just to our east, probably central Alabama and east, as we go throughout the next few days here. So we will keep that out of the forecast. Now, as we get into your weekend, we're going to bump up those rain opportunities again, especially by Sunday into Monday. A better chance for some rain around here as humidity comes on back and as a frontal boundary comes on into the region. So pretty comfortable here for the next few days, tolerable too. But by the weekend, our comfort index starts to nose back into that muggy category, flirting with the miserable section of that graph. So it will become more muggy, and that's what happens this time of year. So enjoy this tonight. Upper 50s to low 60s, mainly clear, quiet. A great night for some stargazing yet again. And here's our first alert forecast for tomorrow. Mid-80s expected across the region. 85 in Columbus, Louisville, 84 Calhoun City, 85 Tupelo, 84 in Pontotoc. You get the story. Our planner in Starkville tomorrow, we start out around 60, maybe a shot at some upper 50s, but by midday flirting with 80 and around 83, 84, 85 in the afternoon. Not too bad. So the isolated showers we have now going away. A comfortable start to our Tuesday. We'll see a few friendly clouds in the region tomorrow. Temperatures in the 80s. Pretty quiet for the middle of the week. But notice how we're back into the low 90s by Friday. Low to mid 90s for your weekend. Father's Day is Sunday. Don't forget about that. Summer officially begins on Saturday. So as we actually get into summer, it's very warm and humid. Can you believe it's kind of still spring, but it's still hot.
Very hot. I was about to say a busy weekend, too. All right, Lane Kiffin's coaching debut with Ole Miss won't be on a traditional college football Saturday. More on week one of the 2020 season next in sports.
The college football season will begin on a Sunday for the Ole Miss Rebels. The 2020 Texas kickoff is officially moved back a day. Ole Miss taking on Baylor in Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium. The game time has not yet been announced, and the game will air on an ESPN network. It'll be the second time the Rebels and Bears will meet on the gridiron. Baylor winning 20-10 back in 1975. In scheduling news, Mississippi State making an addition to its 2024 non-conference slate. The Bulldogs adding Utah State to the schedule. It'll be the first ever meeting between the two teams when they meet in Starkville. Get ready for your calendars. September 14th, 2024. Utah State joins Mississippi State's non-conference list of Eastern Kentucky at home, Arizona State on the road, and UMass at home as well. A pair of Mississippi State Bulldogs and Ole Miss Rebels will represent their university as nominees for the Roy F. Kramer SEC Athlete of the Year. For Mississippi State, women's basketball's Rakia Jackson and men's basketball's Reggie Perry have been nominated to represent the Bulldogs. Ole Miss cross country's Waleed Suleiman and women's golf Julia Johnson will represent the Rebels. The male and female award winners will be announced on Wednesday, June 17th. The last Mississippi State athlete to win the award was Brent Rooker in 2017, and for Ole Miss, Jennifer Gillum in 1985. Starkville High rising senior quarterback Luke Altmaier receives his invitation for the 2021 Under Armour All-American game. The Florida State commit is rated as the 4th best prospect out of the 2021 class of the state of Mississippi. That's it for sports. The last look at your forecast next.
Just a few isolated showers, one of which just east of Starkville. That is moving south. It won't last too long, but it's still a little bit of rain out there. Pretty dry for the next few days. We are warming back up, Scott, into the 90s by the upcoming weekend. Summer begins. Father's Day is coming our way.
And just in time to hit the mid-90s by summer.
Summer is here,
It's
yeah.
here. Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you at 10.